There we go. We got oil right there. Hey, welcome back, folks. It's time to get back on the F250 here. I have a list, partial list. There's a lot more that's not on there, but let's take a look. We've got to hook the drive shaft back up to the pinion. It's disconnected right now. I think that's from when it was previously towed. I gotta hook the shifter linkage back up to the transmission, drain the second fuel tank and block it off. I'm not going to use it. Reinstall the original fuel tank, upgrade the fuel lines, new fuel pump, change the oil, rotate the engine oil to rotate the engine, distribute the oil. I'm taking the valve covers off so I can sit there and watch it as I bump it over the starter until I see oil coming out all the push rods up on the rocker arms. Then new valve cover gaskets, put the valve covers back on, install the new carb, change the lock tumblers when they finally get here. That way I actually have a key I can start the vehicle with. Install the fuel neck and more stuff that I still have to write on here, like the brakes. Because right now she's got a brake system installed, but it don't work at all. So I gotta run through and inspect all that. It's got drum brakes all the way around. I don't know what size, so I gotta get in there and measure them. There's like, they have 12 and 10 inches, and I gotta see which one this truck has. So we're gonna crawl underneath and get started on this drive shaft and the shifter linkage. Let's go. Alright, we're under the truck here. I'm gonna hook this drive shaft up. It needs a new U-joint. So let me get you guys set up over here. All right, so it's a bit of a mess here. This thing's been hanging by this wire for a good long time, so we gotta get the old U-joint out first. Let's see how much trouble it's gonna give me. Gotta get these clips out first. There we go. I got a feeling this might give me a little bit of trouble, but we'll see. I wonder how loose this thing is on the... Yeah, those splines are pretty tight. I don't think taking the drive shaft completely out is an option. Well, the old one's kind of, it's ruined, so I might as well hit it right there. It is not moving. Let's see here. That sucker's stuck. Alright, folks. I'm going to see if I have to... Yeah, I'm going to try to take this drive shaft out so I can get it out on the bench and actually get this thing worked out of here. It's obviously rusted enough. I probably need to clean up there anyway, so I'll be back shortly. Alright, I got the drive shaft out. Let's see if it cooperates now. Something moved. Yes, it did. Alright, let's loosen up the other side real quick. Alright, I think she's ready to come out. There went all the needle bearings, of course. Good thing I won't be needing those. They're not dry, but they were probably getting pretty hot last time they got used. Alright, we're gonna get things cleaned up here and put the new one in. Alright, got everything cleaned up with a wire wheel. Hopefully this goes together fairly smoothly, as long as needle bearings don't go flying everywhere. Okay. That straightened it out. Okay. Here's the hard part, putting the second one in. I think I'm gonna get the first one all the way home. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I'm trying to remember. Let me get my socket. One more blow and I can put that clip back in. I think. Okay, maybe one more blow. Okay. Brand new clip. Okay, that one's in. Now I just got this all dirty, so I gotta wipe that off. Don't need any dirt in there. Grease and bearings only. Okay, I think we got it. A little bit further to get that ring in there. There we go. Perfect. All right. I get a piece of tape around here to keep these cups on while I put the drive shaft back into the transmission. I'll bring you guys back when I'm getting ready to hook this up to the pinion. Okay, we're going to take a break from the drive shaft. Yeah, as you can see, I got the U-joint in there. I went back under and got it halfway installed, and the camera turned off without me realizing it, and it doesn't really matter because I ran into a problem. I don't have the right U-bolts to connect it to the pinion. I thought the generic setup I got was the right one because it said on the box it was the right one, but I did some research and I did find the right one. It's in the mail. It'll be here tomorrow. So we're gonna go ahead and segue into getting the fuel tank in because FedEx showed up today and I have all the parts I need to get the fuel tank reinstalled correctly. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on that. So let me show you what I've done so far on the fuel tank. Got it sitting here on the seat. On the back, it used to have these horsehair fiber pads right here, and I found some of these puzzle piece mats you put on the floor for like a gym or something, and these are really soft rubber. So I cut some strips in there and I glued them in with some construction adhesive, and this is just a cushion between the tank and the back wall of the cab. So first thing I do is get this tank out of here, roll the seat forward, and get started putting everything together. Okay, back here behind the seat, there's these brackets here that the bottom of the tank slides into, where it's like a thin edge. And that's really all that holds the bottom one in place, but it's just bare metal on bare metal. I didn't think that was very appropriate, so I got some really thin sheet rubber and we're just gonna lay it on there. I wire brushed them out pretty good. Right now I'm not doing any restoration yet. Right now I'm just getting it to where the truck runs and drives. So I can't put these rubbers in until the tank's in there, so I can lift it up and slide them in. So get the camera set up here where you guys can see what I'm doing, and we'll get the tank in here. and then I'll lift it up, put this rubber under here. It's really thin, it's like 1/16 of an inch or so. Something's better than nothing, that's for sure. Having trouble lifting it up high enough on this end. No, get in there. Yeah, that'll work. All the bolt holes still line up. So we got these 3 bolts to go in. Gotta compress that foam a little bit. So close. Started. I'm probably gonna knock the camera over for these other 2, so I'm gonna move it out of the way. All right, got the tank all secured in here. All 3 bolts are nice and tight. And before I put the tank in here, I shoved this rubber hose on here. Here's the clamps for it. On the outside, I got a new rubber grommet. It's a little dirty because I did a test fit earlier, but this pops in right here. Just like that. Then you take your filler neck, and you got to get it into this hose. Quite a ways actually. Do you see where the paint stops here and the clean metal is? I need to get it in quite a bit. pull that rubber back with a metal pick a little bit later. But there we are. It's in. Get this camera up here and we'll get those clamps tightened up. I need 2 left hands. You know what? I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go get my socket, put it on my rattle gun. Now, if you're gonna cheat like me because you don't have 2 left hands, don't overdo it with the rattle gun, because you can. It just needs to be snug. Oh, 5/16. What am I thinking? Alright, got a 5/16 and grabbed an extension too. Let's get this. I remember these pipe fittings have they're expanded a little bit, so that's why you don't have to get these super tight. But you do need to get them on the right side of it. This one needs to move up a little bit. If you think you're not getting them tight enough, what you can do is wait a couple weeks, have this thing sitting in a hot cab, and come in here and tighten them up a little bit more. If anything, this one here has to be the tightest. That way you're not leaking fuel down there in the corner of your cab. Alright, we're going to call that good. Now, bring your guys' attention over here to this thing. This is the fuel line. I already blew it out. I cut off the rubber hose that's below the cab already. This is all cleaned. It's a flare fitting. So, just need to get it back in there without crossing the threads. I think I successfully did it without crossing the threads. I don't have a flare wrench. I used to. I don't know what happened to them though. They sure are handy so you don't strip out these little brass nuts here. Once again, you don't go crazy getting it tight. Get it down there snug and just give it a little bit more. About right there. And this is supposed to go in this clip over here. I'm gonna fool with that later when I'm messing with the rest of the fuel line. Okay, so I got a new sending unit, and I have this stuff right here, Permatex high-tack gasket sealant. This is the only stuff you want to use in the vicinity of gasoline. Don't use RTV or silicone or anything like that. The gasoline will just break it down, and next thing you know, you'll have little crumbs of orange RTV in your fuel filter. Digging out the gasket here. Alright, got a new gasket, and it's a rubber one. See? I don't want gasoline fumes in my truck. Even though this gasket will probably be just fine on its own, I'm going to put some of this high-tack on it, just to make sure it's good and sealed up. Let me get this thing opened here. Alright, so here's the gasket. This stuff is sticky. You don't need a lot of it either. You just need a little bit. We're gonna get both sides of it taken care of here. That should do it. We'll carefully transfer it over. Line the holes up. And let me get rid of all this nasty stuff. Alright, so I'm going to take this little pick here and make sure all my holes are in the right spot. Pretty close, and then try to get rid of the stringy stuff that's hanging over the opening. I get my screws that I saved in my Ziploc bag here. I'll get them on. Put them on hot standby right here. Got my 1/4 inch nut driver. Here's the new sending unit. See? I'm glad I changed it out because the float on the old one was full of fuel, so it had a hole in it. So, and the electrical part up here, I think it's a resistor type circuit, is probably bad too. So we're going to try to thread this in here without catching a bunch of this high tack. Right there. And remember, these floats go that direction. You can make it work going the other direction, I'm sure, but stock configuration over there to the passenger side. See, that gasket is slightly not quite the right size, or the holes aren't perfect, so I'm just gonna fool around here until I get them all started. I guess one way I could have done it is I could have put the gasket on the sending unit first and threaded all the screws through. A little bit late for that now, but that would probably have made it a lot easier. I gotta fish around and find these holes again. There's that one. Okay, so that's 2 started. Three started. That's 4. I think I can see. Where are you? Yeah, if you guys are gonna do the same work I'm doing right now, put the gasket on the sending unit first and then thread all your screws through the holes in the gasket. That way you're not fighting it like I am right now, even though I just got the last one in there. Okay, just gotta tighten them down. I suppose I'll do this like lug nuts on a tire. Remember, rubber gasket, you don't need to compress the living crap out of it. Just get it snugged down and compress just a little bit, especially if you're using high tack like me. That will help. Alright, they're all snug, so I'm going to give them all a good turn, past snug. One more round to make sure they're all about the same. Okay. You got your ground wire that I saved up here by the window. This goes right on this. And here's the sending unit wire. That needs to go back on its clips. There's a dead spider. Okay. So I don't think I need this nut on here. Well, it's a little tight. Get a pair of pliers. Yeah, if you're a situation where you don't have the stock little plug that goes on there, you're gonna have to use the nut and washer here. But I still got the stock equipment, so get that off of there. Put those in my junk drawer. There we go. All right, we're hooked back up, and the fuel line's not quite getting onto this clip it's supposed to be on, and I think I got to do a little bit of finagling with it. I might have to slide over. I'm gonna mess with that when I finish running cleaning out the fuel line all the way up to the fuel pump. There we go. Fuel tank's back in. It's nice and clean. New sending unit, new hose up over here. We're good. All right, on to the next thing. What a fantastic location for a oil drain plug, right across the cross member. I knew there was something about these trucks I hated. Anyway, we're draining the oil out and getting ready to pump some new oil through the system. Make sure everything's well oiled before I start it up. So we'll let this thing drip for a while. Until she's all empty. Alright, so oil's been completely drained. I got the plug back in. I got a new filter on here. Now we're going to add oil. And I think it should be 5 quarts. We'll get our dipstick ready so we can measure. So I got 5 quarts here, and I'm using 100% synthetic oil. This is deliberate because the detergents that are in synthetic oil are far superior to the detergents that are in just normal petroleum. And if there's any carbon buildup or any junk inside the engine, it's gonna break it down and pull it all the way down into the sump, and I can drain it out in the next oil change. All right. Let's see what she's showing on the dipstick so far. She's showing right between the add and full, halfway. Now you guys can't see it, it's dark outside. We'll let that sit for a little bit and then check again to see, make sure that we're in the right parameters. Now we're going to pull the valve covers off, and I'm going to turn the engine over at the starter and make sure I got oil coming up all the push rods, which if they're coming up all the push rods, it's coming through all the engine, crankshaft, camshaft, and everything. And that will make me far more comfortable starting an engine that's been sitting for 30 years or so and actually starting it and running it. So bring you guys back as soon as it's been sitting for about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15, and we'll pull some valve covers off. I'm just waiting because I want to make sure any oil that's trapped up in here in the valve cover drains all the way down, and then I'll pull the valve covers off. So bring you guys back then in just a few minutes. Alright, so the oil has definitely drained all the way back down into the oil pan. So now we got to get these valve covers off. So we can see what's going on. I'm going to go with the hardest bolt to get, which is right back here. Can't really get it without dropping it. Ooh, almost dropped that one. Let's see how hard it's going to crack this thing off. Not bad. You know what? That doesn't look too terrible. I was actually expecting a lot more carbon buildup. Okay, that's very promising. So what I'll be looking for when I roll it over here in a while, once both valve covers off, is I'll be looking for oil to come out here at the top of the push rods on the rockers, on all of them. Let's go to the other side. Well, that one hit the concrete. Have to look for that one. See? Where'd that thing go? Okay, I'm looking for that bolt in the daylight. Let's go ahead and get this valve cover off. Now the bolt was caught up. I found it. So it's not terrible. There's a little bit of carbon and junk buildup here and right over here. I don't know if you can see that, but right now the goal is to make sure it's oiling properly. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up my remote starter and see if it's doing it. Alright, we're ready to start looking for oil. I think I got my light set up rather poorly. Let's move this over here. Let's start looking for oil. And contact. I'm not getting any oil on that side. I'm still getting fuel out of the fuel pump. Not very much though. Let's see what this side's doing. getting some oil. Not a whole lot though, but that doesn't mean anything terrible. I'm gonna run this side a little bit more because I see a little bit of oil down here, but I'm not seeing anything coming from the top of these push rods. There we go. We got oil right there. And we got on the next one. As I'm running out of battery, I'm starting to get oil, and I got some up here on number 1. Let's take a look at the other side real quick. Ow! See if we get a little bit more oil here before I have to recharge the battery. Yep, right there. That push rod has oil. This one right here as well. Getting a little bit of oil coming up. Okay, not bad. The lighting is terrible, but not bad. All right, so it definitely got oil coming at the top end. I think it'll improve more once the engine is actually running at a proper RPM. I think, honestly, I should have gotten a little bit more, but it could possibly be that the oil pump is slightly wore out, but it is oiling, so that's promising. And I think I've seen enough to where I'm confident that when I actually start this engine, it's going to go ahead and get oil everywhere where it needs to go, and it'll be all right. So what do I do next? I gotta put the valve covers back on, and I'm gonna do that off camera, and then tomorrow I'm gonna pick it back up on the next video, because this is going to end this video because I'm running out of time and this video is getting really long already. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video right now, and the next video I'll be putting the valve covers back on and hopefully finishing up everything for the fuel system to where I can start it. I'm not going to promise anything, but that's what I'm going to try to do on the next video. So anyway, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, notification bell, like the like button, and drop a comment, and I'll see you on the next video when we actually start the engine.